all the stories that we needed to cover for today. So let's head over and do a new NBA team refresher, folks. We'll spin the wheel and see what team we get. And we'll go over what they did last season, see what they did in this offseason, who did they pick up, who did they lose, who did they get in the draft, and then we'll walk through their schedule to see how many wins we can give them. Now, we have done 5 teams already. They're all up on our YouTube channel if you have not heard them or listened to them. And we are keeping a kind of running list of just how we're kind of positioning these teams in kind of relation to the teams in the league. Who's the best? Who's the worst? So far, we've done the Lions, the Saints, the Broncos, the Raiders, and the Washington football team. We had the Lions going 2-15, a 5-win max season. We have the Saints going 6-11. We have the Broncos going 10-7, 11-6. We have the Raiders going 10-7, and we have Washington going 9-7, but they do have a high ceiling that is 13-4. So we have the Washington football team, the best team so far. Raiders number 2, Broncos number 3, Saints number 4, and Lions number 5, in relation to each other. So we'll see what team we have today. So let's get the wheel up. We do a random team every single day, folks. So let's see who the wheel chooses for today's NFL team refresher. So here we go. Let's spin the wheel. Wheel is spinning. Wheel is slowing down. And the team of our refresher today is... Oh, we're going to have to spin it again. We've already done Washington. How have we chosen 5 teams? And this is a second duplicate that we've gotten. So let's spin it again. Wheel is spinning again. Wheel is slowing down again. And this time the team is... the Denver Broncos, which we've already done. What the heck? This wheel's not good, folks. What is going on here? Can we please get a new team? Third time's a charm. Here we go. Wheel going around again. Wheel slowing down again. And the team that we will be looking at is the Atlanta Falcons. And as we were just talking about Kyle Pitts, folks, we love this man. Oh, Kyle Pitts is the best thing about this team. A rookie tight end is the best thing about this team, folks. Hands down, hands down. Man, oh man. All right, so let's go over the Atlanta Falcons, folks, and see what they are going to be doing this season. So let's start with what the Falcons did last year, folks. Let's see what their record was, just how they were looking, and who they beat. We'll walk through the schedule last season. So here we go. Let's get their season from last season up. Here we go. All righty. They go 4-12, real not good season. They finished last in their division, and obviously with 4 wins, you are not making the playoffs. So let's go over their schedule and just see, did they lose against the best teams? Did they just have a difficult schedule? What happened? So let's just walk through it quickly here. All right, week 1 against the Seahawks, obviously a tough team right there. They lose 25-38. Defense giving up 38 points. That's really not great. Then they go and face Dallas. Once again, very close game here, 39-40, but once again, giving up 40 points, never great. So this Atlanta defense really is going to have to step it up this season. They give up 30 points to the Chicago Bears, not great. They lose that game 26-30. They lose against the Packers 16-30. They lose against the Panthers 16-23. So, you know, these teams that they should be beating, the Bears, the Panthers, even the Cowboys, really, they're just not winning the games, and they're giving up a lot of points. They only give up 23 points to the Panthers, which is solid, but giving up 30 points to the Bears, that's really kind of inexcusable, honestly. Not great. They get their first win against the Vikings. Offense showed out. Finally, the defense was able to kind of get a hang of itself, putting up 40 points and winning 40-23. This defense actually had a really solid stretch out here for from week 5 to week 14, they didn't give up more than 27 points. They gave up 27 points one game, 24 points one game, and then 23 and less for the other week. So a real solid defense right there, and it kind of resulted into a couple of wins throughout that stretch. So week 5 to week 14 was real solid here by this Falcons defense. So they go and beat the Vikings 40-23. They lose against the Lions 22-23. Once again, another real bad loss, losing to the Lions, the Panthers, the Bears. That's 3 more wins that they really should have had. Let's keep it up here. They beat the Panthers the second time, winning 25-17. They beat the Broncos, winning 34-17. They get kind of blown out by the Saints here, losing 24-9. Then they go and beat the Raiders, putting up 43 points and only giving up 6. So we're seeing real high and low swings here. Offense, offensively, defensively by this Falcons team throughout the entire year last year. So it's going to be real interesting to see just how they placed overall in relation offensively and defensively compared to the rest of the league. And we are going to take a look at that in a second. But let's finish off because they go out and lose the last 5 games of the season, folks. Not great. They go out and face the Saints, time number 2. They lose close, 21-16. They lose against the Chargers, 20-17. They lose against the Bucks, 31-27. They lose against the Chiefs, 17-14, and they lose against the Bucks again, getting blown out, 44-27. But real close games here against good teams. Lost by 3 against the Chiefs, lost by 4 against the Bucks, lost by 3 against the Chargers, lost by 5 against the Saints. So real kind of very, very close games. So just real huge swings. Real kind of up and down the entire season, and now they go out and get rid of their head coach, Dan Quinn. I was never a big believer in Dan Quinn, and I really still don't believe in him now as a defensive coordinator of the Cowboys, but I am now big on Arthur Smith, who is now the new head coach for this Falcons team, and he was the offensive coordinator for the Titans the last 2 years, and we know the Titans were real solid. So let's get up Arthur Smith coaching history right here. I want to see what he was doing before being the offensive coordinator for the Titans. I don't believe he was ever a head coach anywhere. So he started in 2007 with the Washington football team as a defensive assistant coach, and then he went to the Titans in 2011, was a defensive assistant coach, and then moved to the offensive line, and then the tight ends, and then the tight ends coach for the Titans, and then the offensive coordinator. So real interesting that he got to start defensively, worked his way into offense, and stayed at offense. So maybe he could have, this is actually a pretty solid head coaching candidate just because he's been on both sides, the offense and the defense. So this could be potential solid here for the Falcons, kind of getting a 2-1. Obviously, you kind of have to choose whether do you want a total offensive-minded head coach, total defensive-minded head coach. Dan Quinn was a defensive-minded head coach. Now they kind of go with Arthur Smith, who's a little bit more of a offensive-minded head coach just because he's been an offensive coordinator. He's never been a defensive coordinator. He's been working with the offensive side of the ball a lot longer, more years than he did the defensive side of the ball. So watch out for this Atlanta offense to be real solid, and they have pieces everywhere. I mean, Kyle Pitts, we brag about. He's going to be fantastic. They have Calvin Ridley, who is not even going to worry about not having Julio Jones. That's not even a thing we have to worry about. We saw Calvin Ridley's status when he was on the field by himself, not having Julio Jones. So Calvin Ridley, the number 1 receiver in the games, and he was still putting up 100 yards. No big deal. Getting it done. Had 1,000 yards last season. So the step from being the second wide receiver on the team for Calvin Ridley, stepping up to now the number 1 role, we don't think it's going to affect him, and we still see him having big time success. But before we get into all their stats, because I do kind of want to still talk about their offensive pieces and Calvin Ridley even more, I want to see statistically what this Titans team was doing in 2019 and 2020, because this is kind of, Arthur Smith. Was the offense of the Titans his success? Are we going to see that same success this year with the Atlanta Falcons? Or was it just the overall talented roster that the Titans had for the last 2 seasons that was for their offensive success? Because the Titans in 2019 went 9-7, got to the AFC Championship game, and then just last year went 11-5, and I believe, did they lose first round of the playoffs? We can get that up. So let's quickly take a look at the Titans' overall offense, because we'll get a good understanding of what Arthur Smith can do offensively for an entire year and what the offense by the numbers look like. So let's get this up quickly. Here we go. So 2019 offensive coordinator, so we can go here. Like we said, it went 9-7. And got to the AFC Championship game and then lost 35-24 against the Chiefs. But once again, not bad. I mean, getting Ryan Tannehill to an AFC Championship game, folks, that's pretty solid. But let's see where their offense ranked in total in 2019. Let's see. Let's take a look by the numbers. All right, offensively, the Titans were the number 10 ranked team offensively. So not bad there. We'll take a top 10 offense. Let's see how they did. They put up 5,800 yards in 2019. Average was 5,500. They put up 402 points, 365 was the average, so fantastic there, putting up more points. Passing, they put up 3,500 yards. The average was 3,700, so below average there. The rushing, though, was at 2,200 yards, and the average was 1,800, 400 more yards above the average because of Derrick Henry. Now, Atlanta, they don't have that good running back, folks. They have Mike Davis. He's all right. He's solid, 600 yards last season for the Panthers. Nothing great. Nothing bad, just average for a tier 2 running back. And we did look at who else they brought in today on the show. What's his name? Forgot his name already. Unfortunate. Deontay Freeman. They do bring in Deontay Freeman, but once again, he's never been anything. He's rarely ever started. He put up 300 yards his rookie year and then never really got any meaningful burn, and we didn't really see anything great in the highlight package. His best run, he got injured on it at the very last good run that we saw. He got injured on, so that wasn't great either. So they're not going to have that elite running game, and in 2019 it was above average, and really why they were in top 10 offensively because of the running game. So that's not the greatest look here for Arthur Smith, but let's see what he did in 2020 offensively in relation to everybody else. So in 2020, the Titans were a 4th ranked offense. That's gosh dang good. Let's see if the passing game improved here. They put up 6,300 yards last season. Fantastic. 5,700 yards was the average. They put up 491 points. The average was 396 points, so 100 more points on average. That's absolutely fantastic. All right, passing, they put up 3,600 yards. The average was 3,800. So the passing game is always below average for Arthur Smith's offense. Now, do we put that on Arthur Smith or do we put that on Ryan Tannehill? I'm leaning more towards putting that on Ryan Tannehill because we classify Ryan Tannehill as an above average game manager quarterback, where Matt Ryan, I don't think he's a game manager quarterback. I think he's just a solid quarterback out there. So I put him above Ryan Tannehill. So that could definitely help out Arthur Smith's passing offense, and especially when they've got great pass catching receivers all over the place. We can bring up their depth chart now. Let's get this up. Calvin Ridley's fantastic. We love that man so much, folks. We're expecting big things from him this season. So this is, a good thing about this Falcons offense. It is kind of weapons loaded like the Titans besides the running game. You had Corey Davis and A.J. Brown. I mean, those are 2 great wide receivers. Now, Arthur Smith, the new head coach for the Falcons now, they have Calvin Ridley and Russell Gage. I mean, real solid options out there. And then you have Kyle Pitts at the tight end position, who we all know is going to be absolutely magnificent. So, Calvin Ridley last season put up 1,300 yards in 9 touchdowns. Absolutely magnifico. And I just kind of want to show the comparison again, what Calvin Ridley was doing on the field when Julio Jones was off the field, because that is like the one narrative to watch. It's not a narrative that we're putting that much stake into, but it is still a narrative out there. How is Calvin Ridley going to look now that Julio Jones is out there? But it's really a non-narrative because he was doing that last season because Julio Jones was kind of hobbled, I believe, with the hamstring again. So let's get both their stats up and see what Calvin Ridley was doing in the games that Julio Jones was not in, just to kind of, so we can dispel the narrative. We're doing a team refresher. Might as well dispel that narrative while we're here. So let's go to Calvin Ridley, get his stats up. 1,300 yards, folks. It's fantastic. Oh, that's Calvin Johnson. Did I type Calvin Johnson? No, I just said Calvin. Calvin career stats. I mean, when I'm typing in Calvin and Calvin Johnson pops up for Calvin Ridley, that's a pretty good sign for Calvin Ridley, don't you think? So here we go. Let's get Calvin Ridley stats up. The right Calvin. Going into year 4, just getting better every single year, so you love to see it. Like we said, 1,300 yards last season. Absolutely fantastic. Now let's bring up Julio Jones stats just so we can cross-reference the games he was not playing in with the games that Calvin Ridley was playing in. Alrighty, Julio Jones. Here we go. Go to his game logs for last season. Alright, and we see he missed 7 games last season. So let's see what Calvin Ridley did in those 7 games that Julio Jones was not playing. So, game number 1 was week 3 against Chicago. Julio Jones was not playing. Calvin Ridley against Chicago put up 110 yards. No issue there. 110 yards, no touchdowns, unfortunately. So 100-yard receiving while being the number one wide receiver. Fantastic. Second game Julio Jones was out was against Carolina week 5. All right, week 5 against Carolina, Calvin Ridley put up 136 yards. No problem. Give me the ball. Yes, sir. So, once again, absolutely magnificent. Also, an 80% catch percentage game. Fantastic. All right. So, first 2 games without Julio Jones. No Julio Jones, no problem, baby. I can be the A1 tier 1. I've got no problem doing that. All right, next game Julio Jones missed was week 12 against the Raiders. Let's see what he did here. Week 12 against the Raiders. All right, only 50 yards, 1 touchdown, 66% complete catch percentage. But still, they put up 43 points, so everybody else was kind of getting theirs. All right, game number 4 without Julio Jones. We got against Tampa Bay, week 15. Week 15 against Tampa Bay. Ooh, Calvin Ridley, 163 yards, 163 yards, folks. Oh, my goodness. Folks, that's the most yards he put up all season while being the number one. And he had 1 touchdown and 71% catch percentage. Fantastic. Week 16 against the Chiefs. Julio Jones did not play. Calvin Ridley, week 16 against the Chiefs, 130 yards. Fantastic. No touchdowns, unfortunate, but still got the burn there for 130 yards. And then the last week, week 17 against Tampa Bay again. No Julio Jones. Calvin Ridley put up 52 yards, no touchdowns. A little bit more locked up in that game, but overall, I mean, he was getting it done. 100 yards, no problem being the A1 tier 1. So we've got no problem with Calvin Ridley truly being the A1 tier 1, number 1 wide receiver for this Falcons team. We just need kind of Russell Gage to kind of step it up a little bit more. Russell Gage has to go from the 3 to the 2, and that's a little bit more of an interesting narrative in my mind for Russell Gage than Calvin Ridley going from the 2 to the 1. So Russell Gage last season, he put up 786 yards. Let's get up Russell Gage's stats and see what Russell Gage was doing as a number 2 wide receiver last year when Julio Jones wasn't out. So we'll see what he was doing there. We saw Calvin Ridley be fine going from 2 to 1. Is Russell Gage good from going 3 to 2? Because that's something that we need to check out. So let's get that up. I think that's more interesting and something more probably just better to watch for this season than Calvin Ridley going from 2 to 1. All right, so let's get up Russell Gage's game logs. Number 3 wide receiver last season. So here we go. Julio Jones did not play week 3 against Chicago. Week 3 against Chicago, Russell Gage only put up 26 yards. Okay, not great going from the 3 to the 2. Julio Jones didn't play week 5 against Carolina. Week 5 against Carolina, Russell Gage put up 16 yards. Not being so great going from the 3 to the 2. Not great. Very, very not good so far. All right, week 12 against the Raiders, Julio Jones did not play. Russell Gage, week 12 against the Raiders, 34 yards. Going from the 3 to the 2. This is not great, folks. All right, week 13 against the Chargers. Week 13 against the Chargers, Russell Gage, 82 yards. All right, that was his second best game of the season, third best game of the season. All righty, coming into his own down the stretch here. Week 15 against Tampa Bay. Week 15 against Tampa Bay, Russell Gage, 68 yards, 1 touchdown. All righty. Week 16 against the Chiefs, 23 yards, no touchdown. And then week 17 against Tampa Bay, 91 yards. So a little iffy. Was getting into his own down the stretch, was kind of good down the stretch here. The last kind of 4 or 5 weeks of the season. So that is something that we can build upon. It's not as good as Calvin Ridley was. So Russell Gage is going to have to get better in training camp here and truly kind of get up to that level of expectations and just kind of production that we do need to see out of the number 2 wide receiver here. So Russell Gage is a little bit more of a question mark that we have to kind of take a look at as training camp progresses, as preseason games progress. Alrighty, so we talked all about that. Now let's kind of see what the Falcons were doing this year offensively and defensively, because we're having Arthur Smith, a top 10 offense, a top 4 offense. Let's see what he can do here with this Falcons team. Before we get into the 2020, let's quickly see, since we know Arthur Smith is a little bit of a defensive minded, since, he did do defense a little bit. Let's see where this Tennessee Titans 2019 and 2020 defense was ranked. We're not going to put that much stake into it because he's more of an offensive minded, but let's just see if he's having a solid impact, a little impact on the defensive side of the ball. Let's see what we get here. So 2019 Titans defense was ranked number 12, real solid. All right, we're not going to go through all the numbers. I just want to get that number 12 out there. That's how much we're really not putting that much stake into it, but we just want a nice reference. All right, and then 2020 defense, was it a little bit better? It was it got a little worse. Got a little worse in 2020. 2020 defense for the Titans was... I'm not even seeing it on here. It's so bad, it's not even on. Where the hell is the Tennessee Titans? There it is. Oh, wow. Number 24 ranked. Oof. So, not the greatest here by Arthur Smith, but once again, he's more offensive minded. So we had a great 2019 defensive year, not really good 2020 defensive year. So a little bit of a work cut out for him on the defensive end of the ball just to kind of get it truly up to snuff, because he can't be a top 24 defense. That's not going to get it done. All right, now let's finally go to what the Falcons team offensively and defensively was looking like, and let's see if Arthur Smith has his work cut out for him. So here we go. 2020 Falcons offense. Atlanta Falcons offense last season was ranked number 16, so basically right in the middle. Basically average. Let's see if they follow all the average. They put up 396 points. The average was 396. They put up 5,800 yards. The average was 5,700. Passing yards, the Falcons put up 4,300 passing yards. The average was 3,800. So the passing game is fantastic. And Arthur Smith is coming from a team that was below average in passing. Falcons rushing stats, they put up 1,500 rushing yards, and there were 400 yards below average that way, with 1,900 yards being the average. So Arthur Smith is coming from a below average passing game and above average running game in Tennessee, and it's flip-flop here with this Falcons team being an above average passing game and a below average running game. So Arthur Smith's going to have to get that running back game right here this season to try to do what he did with the Titans the last two seasons. All right, now let's see where this Falcons defense was ranked last season. Last year, the Falcons were ranked 19th defensively. They gave up 414 points. The average was 396, so well above the average, not great. They gave up 6,300 yards. Jeez. Man, that's really bad. Woof. 6,300 yards. The average was 5,700, so real bad. 600 more yards given up than the average. Absolutely not great. They gave up 4,600 passing yards. The average was 3,800, so 800 more yards passing. Oh, my God. And then rushing, they gave up only 1,600, and the average was 1,900. So they're well below. Their rushing defense is good. Passing defense is atrocious, though. All righty. So those were the numbers last year for the Falcons. Now let's see what they did in the offseason. Who did they pick up? Who did they lose? We know they obviously got a new head coach. They lose Julio Jones. Let's see what else they lost and gained here for the Falcons in the offseason. Alrighty, they get Brandon Copeland from the Patriots, a nice linebacker. They bring in Duran Harmon, a safety. From the Lions, they bring in Eric Harris, another safety, I believe, from the Raiders. And they bring in Mike Davis, the running back from the Panthers. So nothing great that they bring in. No kind of home run hitters. Solid kind of role players that are going to have to kind of play up a little bit here for this Falcons team. And we'll see if Arthur Smith has them in the right spots and coaches them up. All right, let's see who they lost. They lost Alex Mack, their center. They lost Charles Harris, an edge rusher. They lost Darquez Denard, their corner. And they also lost Kanu Neal, their safety. So lost a couple of great defensive pieces right here. The edge rusher is always important. Let's see what Darquez Denard was doing last year. We love looking what cornerbacks were giving up last season. So let's see, was he a reason why that Atlanta passing offense was just so atrocious last season? So let's see, Darqueze Dennard, 5'11". All right, let's see what he was doing. Didn't play. I mean, he missed a lot of games, folks. He only played in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games last season. All right, against Tyler Lockett, he gave up 6 of 6 for 65 yards, 100% catch percentage, not great. Against CeeDee Lamb, 4 of 8 for 47 yards, not bad against CeeDee Lamb, he's great. Darnell Mooney, 8 of 14 for 75 yards. He had a pass breakup and an interception. Against Jerry Jeudy, 0 of 4. Ooh, a lockdown on Jerry Jeudy. That's fantastic. Against Michael Thomas, 7 of 10 for 82 yards. A little bit of a burn there. Against Henry Ruggs, 4 of 6 for 30 yards and a pass breakup. Pretty solid lockup there. Against Emmanuel Sanders, 5 of 6 for 52 yards. And against Tyron Johnson, 6 of 7 for 21 yards. That's a real great lockup there. So overall, not terrible, not bad. Against kind of the A1 tier ones, he's kind of able to lock it up decently. Jerry Jeudy, CeeDee Lamb never really got away from him. Michael Thomas never really got away from him, just caught a lot of passes. So not bad by Darqueze Dennard, and he's going to be a little missed out there, even though he wasn't playing 100% of the games last season. Alrighty, so they get a couple of good defensive pieces, but also lose a couple of good defensive pieces as well. Let's see where their final offensive line rank was. We're assuming it's below average because their rushing attack was below average, but then again, they never really had that good piece. Last season, who was the running back? It was, oh man, let's get it up like here. I want to say, who was it? It was somebody that was trying to get kind of a second chance at it. Todd Gurley, that's who it was. We can still look it up again. Todd Gurley was their starting running back last year. Only rushed for 678 yards, just was never that kind of back that he needed to be. Once again, I mean, 600 yards is solid for a tier 2, and Todd Gurley, unfortunately, having the arthritis in his knees, is no longer a tier 2 running back. So just bad there. Todd Gurley just couldn't really kind of revitalize his career. And now they're going with Mike Davis, and Mike Davis did exactly what basically Todd Gurley did last season. 600 yards. Let's get up Mike Davis's stats. So I'm just not the biggest believer in Mike Davis. I mean, he had all the ability last season to really make his name known. You played for the Panthers, first year head coach in Matt Rule. So once again, you probably do a little bit more run to control the tempo, control the clock of the game a little bit. You have Teddy Bridgewater, first time quarterback for this Panthers team. No Christian McCaffrey. So it was really Mike Davis's season to really just wow everybody. And he just didn't. It wasn't a bad season. I'm not knocking Mike Davis. It just wasn't a good season, a great season that could have been, should have been a great running season for Mike Davis. So last year, only 642 yards receiving. He caught 373 yards receiving, so that's not bad. He broke 1,000 rushing and receiving, which is solid, and we'll see if he can kind of, increase that with this Falcons team. So if you take the rushing with the passing, it's good. Just rushing by itself, not the greatest. So we'll see what he can do here now, and we'll try to believe in him. I don't want to shit on Mike Davis too much, but let's see where the Falcons offensive line is ranking and seeing if they could be a little bit better than the Panthers were last season for Mike Davis to have success. So here we go. The Falcons were the number. Where they go? We keep on scrolling. Not great. Oh my god, they're bottom 20. 21. They're ranked 21 offensively for their offensive line. All right, let's see what PFF was saying about this Falcons offensive line at the end of last season. Here we go. The Falcons allocated not one, but 2 first-round picks toward improving the right side of their offensive line in the 2019 NFL Draft. Things didn't quite pan out in year 1 for those players, as Chris Lindstrom played just 309 offensive snaps, missing significant time with injury, and Caleb McGarry was routinely beat in pass protection with 13 sacks and 13 quarterback hits allowed in 2019. Yikes for the young guns out there. Fast forward to 2020, and Lindstrom is the highest graded offensive lineman in Atlanta with a 77.1 overall grade. And more offensive snaps than any other player at that position. However, McGarry still had his struggles in pass protection with a 58.2 pass blocking grade this season. He'll need to show signs of improvement there in 2021 to maintain his starting job. So they've got a good one in Lindstrom. Let's see where Lindstrom is on the line. Lindstrom is still here. Chris Lindstrom, and he is the guard. Caleb McGarry at the right tackle. We need a little bit of a better fit for him here. See if he can kind of get it done year 2. So that's their offensive line, ranked number 21. Not the greatest out there. Let's see where they put this Panthers line, just because we're kind of, comparing it to Mike Davis. The Panthers offensive line was ranked number 18. So really kind of close, just kind of overall grades here between the Panthers and the Falcons offensive line. So hopefully Mike Davis can continue to have decent success here with this Falcons offensive line. All right, let's quickly see what this Falcons team did in the draft this year. Obviously, we know that they went Kyle Pitts with their first-round pick, 4th overall, and we love that. We love Kyle Pitts hugely. They have Richie Grant in the 2nd round to safety. Once again, we saw that they lost to safety. They go and bring one in. They go in the 3rd round in offensive tackle just to kind of shore it up a little bit. They really want that line to be good. Is Jalen Mayfield now in the starting lineup? Where is he at? Jalen Mayfield is the right tackle behind Caleb McGarry. So if Caleb McGarry is once again not getting it done, he didn't get it done in 2019 rookie year. He didn't really have that great success last season either. So it's really put up or shut up time for Caleb McGarry. We do have a replacement in the wings in Jalen Mayfield, the rookie. So it's put up or shut up for Caleb McGarry this year, folks. We'll see if he can get it done. All right, what else did they get here? In the 4th round, they went cornerback and center. Drew Dahlman. Is Drew Dahlman the center? He is not their starting center, even close to starting center. So Matt Hennessy, he still has that starting job, just kind of an extra depth there for the lineman position. Then they go out and get a defensive tackle in the 5th round. They had 3 5th-round picks: defensive tackle, defensive end, and cornerback. But these are 5th-round picks. We really can't expect them to be kind of instant starters. Really kind of first 3 round picks, you pretty much assume they should be able to fight for a starting position. So this kind of end of the draft defense, that the defense really needs to kind of get their shit together a little bit. It may not have been the greatest kind of draft overall. Yes, Kyle Pitts is great, but maybe you should have shored up the defense a little bit first. It's hard, damned if you do, damned if you don't. You shore up the defense, the offense maybe suffers. You shore up the offense, the defense still suffers. So we'll see if the right move was made. Only time will tell, obviously. So overall, nothing truly great defensively. We'll see what Richie Grant has got. A nice 6-foot safety. Is he in the starting lineup now defensively? He is. Richie Grant is their starting safety. So he's going to kind of have to make that, immediate impact year 1 here, rookie year. All right, let's read what Bleacher Report is kind of giving the Falcons on their overall off-season grade, based on everything, the grade, the off-season pickups, all that, the off-season departures, all that. And then we'll go a little bit deeper into their defense and what we can expect, and then we'll walk through their schedule. So here we go. Key additions, obviously, running back Mike Davis, tight end Lee Smith. That doesn't matter. You got Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts is 1,000% better than Lee Smith. Lee Smith shouldn't even see the field, honestly. And that's no disrespect to Lee Smith. That's just how great Kyle Pitts is going to be. He should be out there every single snap, offensively and defensively, honestly. Leave him out on the field. He can do everything. They bring in an edge rusher, Bartavius Mingo, an edge rusher, Brandon Copeland, a cornerback, Fabian Moreo, safety Eric Harris, and safety Duron Harmon. The draft key additions: Kyle Pitts, safety Richie Grant, offensive lineman Jay Mayfield. McKee departures: guard Justin McGarry, center Alex Mack, safety Canu Neal, and defensive back DeMonte Kazee, and safety Ricardo Allen. Now, this is what Bleacher Report says about the Falcons offseason. Here we go. Pitts makes the Atlanta Falcons better, but can one rookie tight end change a franchise overnight? Yes. Yes, he can. He can 1,000,000%. He can. So, I think we're done. I think we're done here. Falcons go 17-0 because they have Kyle Pitts. End of story. We're back tomorrow, folks, with a new team. All right, let's finish this up. That's the onus he faces after the team essentially slept through free agency as a result of cap constraints, not great, brought on by massive contracts belonging to quarterback Matt Ryan and wide receiver Julio Jones. Atlanta is coming off 3 consecutive, and that's why we know they traded Julio Jones, because they were able to get more cap space. So once again, we'll see what other moves they make here at the kind of thick of training camp to see what they are missing and what they truly need to bring in to shore up whatever piece it is: offense, defense, running back, corners, safeties, defensive linemen, whatever it has to be. So they do have a little bit more flexibility now that Julio Jones is kind of out of town. And we wanted them to use the money to go out and get Le'Veon Bell just to shore up their running game a little bit, just so that offense is elite from wide receiver to tight end to running back to quarterback. That's really what we wanted, but also bringing in some defensive players could be nice as well. All right, Atlanta is coming off 3 consecutive losing seasons and now has even more questions along the offensive line and on defense. Losing Mack and exchanging Neal, Kazee, and Allen for Harris, Harmon, and Moreo isn't likely to make the Falcons a contender, while Mingo and Copeland are unlikely to resurrect the pass rush. They also drafted Grant with more polished Trayvon Moehrig available, although they could have a superstar in Pitts, and they got good value in Mayfield in round 3, so their draft performance was solid overall, but it wasn't enough. They could still trade Jones to save a bunch of dough, which they actually did. This was before that happened, but it's hard to see that making them better in the short term. They've been mediocre the last few seasons, and that won't change. Alrighty, so Arthur Smith really has his kind of work cut out for him on the defensive end of the ball. I believe Arthur Smith is going to be able to make this offense work. I mean, at the quarterback position, Matt Ryan is a slight upgrade over Ryan Tannehill. Do I have that officially? We just kind of ranked our top quarterbacks the other day. Is that what we have? No, we have Ryan Tannehill above Matt Ryan. We'll see what Matt Ryan can do. Just Ryan Tannehill has that kind of dual threat ability game that we do like, and Matt Ryan doesn't really have the legs to kind of get it done, but we'll see if he can still get it done passing wise. They're not that far from each other. Maybe we have Ryan Tannehill a little overvalued. Maybe we may have Ryan Tannehill a little overvalued here. Yeah, maybe we should bring that down. So we may have to fix this list a little bit before the season begins. But yeah, Matt Ryan is very similar to Ryan Tannehill. He's got a better arm. Let's just leave it at that. Matt Ryan's got a better arm than Ryan Tannehill does. So Arthur Smith getting a slight upgrade at quarterback. Wide receiver-wise, working with Corey Davis and A.J. Brown. I mean, Calvin Ridley and Russell Gage. I would say Calvin Ridley's better than A.J. Brown and Corey Davis. Russell Gage is not better than any of those two. So overall, it kind of washes out at like the same level of receiver. Running back, I mean, they're not even in the same stratosphere, folks. I'm not even going to say the names. Mother loving Derrick Henry is so much better than Mike Davis. I mean, they're not even close. So he is going to have to kind of make up for it a little bit there. Arthur Smith maybe faulting on the running game a little bit. And then Kyle Pitts is better than whatever the Titans had at tight end, which was Jonnu Smith, if I'm getting that right. So they are really kind of only taking one step back roster-wise for Arthur Smith in having Mike Davis over Derrick Henry, unfortunately. All right, let's see what this Atlanta defense is doing here. I want to kind of look at some of their corners. Can we believe in their corners? Kendall Sheffield and A.J. Terrell. So let's quickly look at their corners. On the defensive ends, they got Jacob Tutue Mariner. How many sacks did he have last season? Only one. Ooh, not great. Their other kind of edge rusher, Dante Fowler. Solid option out here. He had 3 sacks last season. Could be a little bit better. Linebackers, McCall Walker, Deion Jones, Forsad Olukum. So we're going to need them to kind of step it up as well. So now let's go to these corners and see if they are shutting down the A1 Tier 1 wide receivers. So let's bring up Kendall Sheffield first. Kendall Sheffield, where art thou? Here we go. Kendall Sheffield, here we go. Last season, against Marquez Valdez-Scantling, 6 of 11 for 76 yards, 1 pass breakup. Against Robbie Anderson, 9 of 15 for 122 yards and a pass breakup. That's a little bit of a burn. Against Justin Jefferson, 7 of 9 for 154 yards. This man is getting burned all over the place, folks. Against Kenny Galladay, 9 of 11 for 127 yards. Jeez Louise. Against Jerry Jeudy, 4 of 6 for 80 yards and a pass breakup. Against Michael Thomas, 1 of 1 for 6 yards. You locked him down, but it's only one throw. Against Michael Thomas, game 2, 0 of 0 for 0 yards. All right, locking him up. Against Mike Evans, 2 of 3 for 11 yards. Against Antonio Brown, 5 of 9 for 56 yards. Against DeMarcus Robinson, 6 of 11 for 69 yards and a pass breakup. But he got better as the season progressed. Missed a couple of games early in the year. Was able to lock up Michael Thomas at the end of the year. He got beat by Jerry Jeudy. Was able to lock up Nelson Aguilar and Mike Thomas. So that's solid. So got a little bit better as the season progressed. Maybe we can kind of, take that as a little bit of a silver lining. Got absolutely torched the first couple weeks, so geez. All right, and then the other corner that we have to look up is, who was it, A.J. Terrell? A.J. Terrell, the left corner. And then we will walk through their schedule and see how many wins we can give them. A.J. Terrell. Come on, bring up his name. Here we go. And A.J. Terrell last season at the cornerback position. He's 6'1", which is fantastic, and he's 22, so young gun over there. All right, against David Moore of the Seahawks, 7 of 7 for 89 yards. A little bit of a burn there by nobody a little bit. Against Michael Gallup, 4 of 5 for 39 yards. Solid there. Against DJ Moore, 5 of 5 for 60 yards. Got burned there. Against Adam Thielen, 5 of 7 for 53 yards. Against Robbie Anderson, 5 of 9 for 108 yards. Against Tim Patrick of the Broncos, 4 of 8 for 55 yards and gave up pass defense. Against Michael Thomas, 5 of 6 for 82 yards. Against Henry Ruggs, 5 of 8 for 70 yards. Michael Thomas, round 2, 8 of 11 for 96 yards and a pass breakup. Against Keenan Allen, 7 of 10 for 52 yards. That's a pretty good lockup right there. Against Mike Evans, 7 of 10 for 117 yards. Burn. That's a burn. Against Sammy Watkins, 5 of 10 for 66 yards, and against Antonio Brown, 4 of 10 for 67 yards. So overall, just not terrible, not getting extremely torched, locking up the tier 2s decently, but still giving up some chunk yardage here. Overall, not bad for a number 2. We'll see if he can kind of get a little bit better. Alrighty, so now the last thing to do is walk through their schedule. How many games can we expect this Falcons team to win? Do they have an easy schedule, hard schedule? And we'll see if there's anything that's going to kind of bring down their win total. So let's go to Atlanta's schedule and walk through that and see how many wins we can give them. Here we go. Starting week 1, at home against the Eagles. This is a winnable game. I mean, I'm not big on this Eagles team. Their defense is not that great, and they don't have that many weapons offensively. Jalen Hurts going into year 2. I'm going to take Matt Ryan here week 1. I think this is a solid winnable game for them. We'll give them a win. Then they have to go on the road against Tampa Bay and face the Bucs. That's going to be a huge game, and I just don't know if their defense is up to cover this Bucs offense. So I got to give them a loss, especially on the road here. Cannot give them a win. But then they go at the Giants, and this is a winnable game as well. We haven't really been seeing that great things here in training camp for the Giants, and it's leaving a real bad taste in our mouth. It's just, how is this Falcons team going to look offensively with Arthur Smith? We think it's going to be a little bit of an upgrade. We do like this Giants defense overall, and I think I'm going to give this Falcons team a win here on the road against the Giants. Then they go at home and face Washington. I'm going to give them a win there as well. And this is a real favorable schedule. Oh, my God. Their first couple of games, Eagles, Bucks, Giants, Washington, Jets, and then we get the bye. Man, oh, man. So I'm going to give them a win against Washington here. They're at home for this game. Just don't love Washington's offense, and this is kind of a solid game for this Atlanta defense to really make itself known and to kind of get its feet underneath them defensively early on in the season. So we'll see if Atlanta takes advantage of this kind of easier, lighter schedule. We've already seen tougher schedules right out of the gate, and we've only covered 5 teams so far, folks. So this is a real favorable schedule early on for Atlanta. We'll see if it keeps up. Then week 5. Week 5 here against the Jets, 9:30 a.m. game. I think this is a London game. Ooh, a London game, and I'm going to just give it to Atlanta. I mean, over the Jets where you have a rookie head coach and a rookie quarterback, where Atlanta you have a first-time head coach but a, tried and true veteran quarterback in Matt Ryan. So we'll give them a win against the Jets, having 4 wins going into the bye, real solid. Then they go to Miami. I'm going to give the Dolphins a win there. I think the defense will be solid and lock up the offense a little bit. Then they go and face the Carolina Panthers, and this is another winnable game at home. I'll give them a win there. I'm not buying into Sam Darnold. I'm not. So a winnable game there against Carolina will give them a win. We will have them split against the Saints, so we'll have them win their home game, so they lose whatever week we're on, whatever. What did we got? Week 8, something like that. Week 7, 8 when they face the Saints at home. We'll give them a loss there. Then they go and face the Cowboys at home. A little bit of a revenge game from last season when they gave up 40 points, a close game. But overall, I think the Cowboys offense just stacks up on that Falcons defense. So give them a loss there against the Cowboys. Here we go. Thursday Night Football against the Patriots at home. This is a winnable game. I'm not believing in this Patriots offense, and I'm going to give them a win against the Patriots at 6. Then they're at Jacksonville. I'll give them a win there. I'm not buying into Urban Meyer, and it's the overall offense and defense of the Jags, so we'll give them a win there. That's 7. Then they're back at the Bucs. I don't even think I can give them the split against the Bucs, unfortunately. I actually might give them both a win against the Saints just because Drew Brees and it's a bad defense too. So not going to give them the split against the Bucs, unfortunately. So we'll have them lose against the Bucs. Then they go and face the Panthers again, and I'm going to have them another win. I think they can sweep the Panthers, no big deal. I think we'll give them a win there. The 49ers, I'm going to give them a loss. Should be a close game. It is a decently winnable game, depending on, we know this is late in the season, so Jimmy Garoppolo probably isn't healthy. So this could be a winnable game if the defense is kind of getting right as the season progresses. But I think I'm going to give them a loss for today. And then they go and face the Lions at home. Easy win there. Easy peasy. We're at 9. They have to go to Buffalo. They lose that game. And then the last game of the season against the Saints at home. I'm going to give them a win here. A win against the Saints. And do we take back? And I'm going to take it back. I'm going to give them a win early on in the season against the Saints, on the road against the Saints for 11 wins. They sweep the Panthers, they sweep the Saints, and they get swept by the Bucs for 11 wins. I think this is a winnable, workable schedule for the Falcons, folks. Who's their toughest opponents? The Bucs. The Bills. That's 3 games. That's 3 tough games. The Cowboys is going to be a tough one. The Dolphins should be a tough one, but it's still decently winnable. I'm not putting that out of the realm of possibilities of not winning, but having to face the Giants, the Eagles, the Washington football team, the Jets, the Patriots, the Jags, the Panthers twice, the Saints twice, the Lions, the 49ers. Real winnable, favorable schedule here for the Falcons, and we'll see if Arthur Smith, year 1, can take advantage and seize the opportunity. We'll have him officially marked down at 11-6. Real solid work here for the Falcons, and we'll see if it's enough to win the division, and we'll see if it's enough to get into the playoffs. So let's make the note here. Atlanta Falcons, get them on our working list. We got 11-6. Real solid year for them, 17 games total. All right, now where do we rank them among the other ones? I'm going to put them right under. I'm going to put them right under the Raiders, slightly above the Broncos right here. Maybe I should put them under the Broncos. This is tough. I'm going to put them under the Raiders just because I think their offense might be a little bit smidge better. They're kind of both in the same defensive boat, not the greatest. Maybe the Raiders' defense is a slight step above the Falcons, but I think we'll leave the Falcons above the Broncos. I got to see that defense of the Broncos. I'm hearing good things about the Broncos. On paper, it's good. We have to see it live in action, and we'll see how good Teddy Bridgewater and Drew Lock are going to be for this team overall, quarterback-wise. But I'm kind of buying into Arthur Smith heavily here. I'm kind of very, very much into him and seeing what he can do here for this Falcons team as a head coach. So we're going to leave the Falcons above the Broncos, right under the Raiders, and under the Washington football team, just because they do have a really high ceiling as well because of a more favorable schedule, just depending on what Ryan Fitzpatrick does for that team. So Atlanta Falcons, real solid year, potentially. if that defense can be real solid, it's a little bit of a question mark if it can, and we'll see how good the running game is. But real favorable schedule here for the Falcons. Winnable games here, folks. We're talking about wins here. Winnable, easy, favorable schedule. We'll see if they go out and take advantage. All right, so that's going to do it for us today. We're back with a new team tomorrow in our NFL